This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is don't become too reliant on one person or customer. So here's the gist of this, and this is, again, a chapter from the book, 60 Thoughts on Blocking and Tackling, or something like that is the title of the book, but bear with me. So the worst number in business is one. A company can't be too reliant on any one customer, supplier, or key leader. Being too reliant on one thing or having most of your revenue coming from one customer tends to make a business fragile. So, for example, when private equity funds look to invest in a company, they look at customer concentration. Are you too concentrated around one or two customers or a few customers, or do you have a bit more disparate revenues than just being reliant on a couple of customers? Similarly, the key here is not to get rid of that customer or to have less of that customer or less of that leader. The key is both to double down on that great customer or leader or supplier and develop additional great leaders, customers, and suppliers. The answer is to both keep your great team, keep your great customers, but add great customers, add additional great customers, and additional great team leaders. In every business, you go through periods of time where the business is way too dependent on a single team leader or a single customer. The goal is not to get rid of that single team member or customer, but rather to work to add great people and customers. When I was first starting businesses, I remember if a single person would quit or give their resignation, it would give me a horrible stomach ache. And one of the great lessons of business was you can't have too small a team or be too reliant on a couple people. You've got to build teams. You've got to build leaders so that you're not so reliant on one person or one teammate. Similarly, it's the same thing with customers. You can't be so reliant on one client that 80% of your revenues comes from one client, because if that client ever fires you or gets sold or does something else, you end up very fragile, or you're very dependent upon that one customer. So the whole game is to take care of those great customers, take care of those great people, and add more so you're not as reliant or dependent upon those great customers or those great people. It's sort of this mix of both. It's both. It's not either or. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity Podcast. We hope this resonates with you. If you have any questions or comments, like this or hate it, feel free to reach out to me, 773-766-5322. Thank you so much for listening.